Let me make sure that we're live. Y'all, testing. Okay. All right, y'all. Hold on. It's just, I be feeling like it's working and then I don't feel like it's working. And then, okay, we're live. Okay. Because I'll be checking it on my phone. Anyway, hold on. I don't want to be too loud. We need to do a temperature check. Okay, we need to do temperature check. I'm having coffee at 4 p.m. Okay. It's day 4 of us vlogging, not, live streaming Monday through Friday. Okay, so clap it up for day 4. Here's the thing. You know, I am eating fruits and vegetables. Okay. I'm still juicing. Okay, we're doing great with that. And we're having chickpea Caesar salad. Okay. And I explained it to the kids because the kids be like, why y'all always going off on us? I'm like, listen, your teachers, your educators, it's January. We just got back from the break. Okay. It's week 2. And the level of patience, it's not there because we're trying to not stress eat. Okay. Every time somebody irritate me, I think about an Oreo. I think about a Starburst, right? And I'm trying to not do that, right? I'm trying to use my words. I'm trying to do all, and it goes right into this topic right here. I'm doing the work, y'all. Okay, I feel like you're doing the work as well. You're doing the work. We're getting the help. We're going to therapy. We're journaling. We're doing our affirmations. We're doing what we're supposed to be doing, but it's just kind of like, how much healing we gonna do, right? So yesterday we were talking about, we have to take action regardless, okay? Yesterday we talked about we have to take action regardless. We're not overthinking anymore. I had to look at the paper because I almost forgot what I was talking about yesterday. But yesterday we were talking about overthinking. Today we're talking about the emotional aspect of reaching our goals. It's just kind of like vulnerability for me, right? Being vulnerable with other people, showcasing and sharing my thoughts and things like that on a public space. That's the thing for me. But the other part is like, what about relationships and different things of that nature? The fear of going through problems again, right? Not saying that, because you experience this one thing that you're always experiencing again, like a problem, but it's just kind of like we do the work on ourselves, right? We're doing the work, especially like with dating and even adult friendships. We're doing the work, okay? We're doing what we're supposed to be doing. We're doing what we're supposed to be doing. But the thing is like you go back out into the world and you are still being met with disappointment, right? We're doing the work. We're burnt out from doing all of this work, and it seemed like, the people that are doing the work on themselves, they're not the problem. It's the other people. Yesterday, we talked about a conversation I had with a coworker, and we were talking about different communication styles, right? Different working styles, different personalities, right? And see, I can accept the fact that I might be a couple of B words, you know what I'm saying, to some people, because some people need an emotional tie to getting work done, but I don't. I don't need the emotional tie. I'm here for this check, period. And that's it. And can't nobody make me feel bad about nothing. But some people really need that emotional energy with their job. They need that, right? But the thing is, the same people who need that emotional energy from you, right? They are not self-aware, right? I'm learning that. It's the same people that are not, right, emotionally aware, requiring emotions from other people. Why would I share my feelings? Why would I share my feelings? Why would I share anything with anybody? Because you don't know what to do with it anyway. You don't know what to do with your own emotion, right? So yes, that's what this video is about, because I feel like despite us going through problems and experiencing issues with other people, we still have to get back out there. I feel like some of us are using healing and doing the work as a crutch. Right? Are we using it as a crutch? That's what we want to talk about. I feel like we need to hold space for the fact that the world hurts. Okay? Every day, getting up every day, doing the 1, 2, 3, go to work, come home. That hurts. It's annoying. All right, let's do a check-in. Let's just do a check-in. Y'all, I'm tired of this. Okay? Waking up early, going to work every single day. Every single day, it's getting on my nerves. It is really getting on my nerves. Like, it's really annoying that we have to get up and go to work every single day. And if you don't, it's just like you have to pay to live. You need somewhere to live. You have to pay bills every day, right? You have to pay bills. You have to just to live. Water costs money. Air, you need air, right? Because if the air go out, we need air. We have to pay for air. All right? Are we sitting with that? Okay, with my woo-woo energy, I be praying like, God, is this what you, like, this can't be what you talking about. We are paying for the elements. We're paying for the elements, and I am tired of it, okay? Then we go to work every day and have to pretend that we're not up here for this check, okay? And that's good enough for me. I'm going to pretend, and I mind my own business. Then people come around, want to talk, have a conversation. We're dealing with the new generation. Y'all, I gave a sermon to the kids about Martin Luther King, and I just didn't feel like they understood what I was laying down. I felt some type of way. All right, you put the journal prompt. I'm sorry, I can't talk. Put the journal prompt on the board, have them do a little activity, easy, sentence stem, and you spoon feeding the kids. And they just, Whitney said that the children are the future, but I don't know. I don't know. And I feel like I wouldn't be as irritated if I had something to smack on, like an Oreo or something like that. And I'm trying, but the walk is I'm getting tired on the walk. You know what I'm saying? The cross is getting heavy, right? Like I can't, but it's like we're doing the work, and every day we show up, right? We're showing up. We're doing the best that we can with what we're giving. Not much, right? Not much. They're not giving us too much, but we're doing what we can. The thing is, we could wallow in self-pity. We could stay home. We could stay closed off to ourselves. I know I could just close my door, right? And not deal with anyone. But I show up every day knowing, fully aware that people are going to try me every single day. It's like they come up with different ways. You know what I'm saying? They come up with different, like they sit and have board meetings and they're like, how can we, and it's not even like, I don't even take it seriously. I used to take stuff seriously. I used to take stuff personally. I used to be like, y'all really, but they really do be trying it, but it's just kind of like, that's what they supposed to do. Like that's their level of awareness. But I feel like sometimes, it's easy. It's the easy thing to do to close yourself off from new connections, new opportunities, and different things of that nature, because you're like, I already know, like I'm already anticipating somebody's going to do something. Somebody going to hurt me. Somebody going to say something. Somebody going to try it. You know what I mean? And it's like, what is the point of even stepping back out there? What is the point? What is the purpose? Why even involve yourself in anything? You know what I mean? So that is the purpose. I got my clipboard. Y'all know it. Listen, I feel like the important thing we need to know is that healing does not erase the pain. You know what I mean? I feel like we go to therapy, we, do our affirmations, and I like to do the tapping. I like to do that, but it's just kind of like some wounds are just going to be there. You know what I mean? Like you're still going to have the scar after you have this little brush up on something. And it's not so much to forget that it happened. It's so that you can build upon your discernment. So that when you face something like that again, you know that you're going to make it out of it and you can keep going. It's not for you to ball up and stay in the corner. I feel like we ball up, we stay in the corner, we stay in the cocoon, and we're afraid to step back out there because we're already anticipating someone else's actions. Oftentimes, we don't even know if people are going to do the things that we think that they're going to do. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's a trauma response, thinking that people are going to treat you a certain type of way just because, right? Just because someone else did it in the past. And I feel like we got to get out of that negative feedback loop. Okay. So pain is inevitable. And I love the late, great DMX. You know, I think he was quoting the Bible, or I don't know, it's in his video, his movie, not movie, but music video, whatever. To live is to suffer, right? And something else is to find the meaning within the suffering. I don't know. You know, it's his song that's saying, I'm falling, but I can't get up. I love that song. I love that song. When you get a chance, just listen to it, because I feel like DMX is a perfect character. Not a perfect character, but someone that, you know, we all fall down. We all fall down. We all face trauma and different things of that nature, and we deal with it the best way that we can. I don't feel like anybody is perfect, right? But I do know that it's easy to just be like, I'm not going to deal with anything. I'm not going to lie. I be closing myself off sometimes. I know, like, with social and everything like that, I be closing myself off. Like, I haven't posted like a picture of myself. You know, YouTube, I'm going to be honest with y'all. YouTube is the only social media that I have been doing like that. I'll post like clips on my Instagram, but like for the most part, as far as social media goes, YouTube is it. And then like if I want to post something on Instagram, it'll be like a story, and it's a repost of somebody else's thing. It's not like I'm even, and I don't know where that came from, like not feeling like I wanted to post myself or, you know, take pictures and different things of that nature. I think it stems from the fact that back when, one, I was social, you know, I was around a lot of people that, you know, look down on you for wanting to take a picture of yourself. Like, oh, can you take my picture? Like, you take pictures of other people, right? And they take, you know, you take good pictures of them. But then when they take a picture of you, it's like, girl, you know, you find out people really hate you. Excuse me. They really hate you based off of the fact that, and then when you like explain it to them, they are really like not getting it, right? And so it's just kind of like, for me, it's like, it's difficult for me to like step back out there and be friends with people or whatever the case may be. Also, I'm really, really autonomous. Like, I really like to do things, you know, my way and on my time when I get ready to do them, right? And then also, y'all, I'm not like a pocket watcher either. And I don't need nobody, you know what I mean, counting my money up. I'm not counting yours, don't count mine. You know what I mean? But it's just kind of like, it's disheartening. Then talk about relationships. You know, like we already talked about, and when you have a high level of self-worth and entering in relationships with people or with men or whatever the case may be, and they want to steal your shine, you know, like they're trying to harvest your energy, so to speak. Yeah, like all of that is happening. And I don't know if it's a collective energy, like we're all experiencing the same thing all at one time. But I'm just here to say we are going to have courage. Because I'm in there too, honey. I felt this in my spirit. Okay, what else to say? Hermit mode. I like hermit mode. I like doing things by myself, right? I like being autonomous. I like, you know, being independent because I can control what's happening, right? I can control what's going on in these four walls. I don't have to depend on anybody. Say like you had a roommate. If one of y'all don't come up to rent, now we have a problem with the rent, right? Now they filing paperwork. They want to go down to the courthouse. They trying to call the peoples on you. You know what I mean? But it's just like, it's one less variable that I have to think about, like when I have to think about someone else. All I have to think about is me and my dog. The only variables that really, really matter at the end of the day. And I ain't gonna lie, that gets lonely and tiring as well because, you know, but it's also a moment of like truth. And I think I'm gonna make another video maybe tomorrow about the importance of being alone. But it's just kind of like a lot of people don't be alone, right? And so they don't know themselves. They don't know how to take care of themselves. They don't know how to think for themselves, right? But what happens when it's just you? You have no one else to blame, right? So it's all about accountability. Like, you have to be accountable because it's you. There's no one to point the finger at, you know? But it's also like, sometimes it's important to be in fellowship and to talk to other people because, y'all, loneliness, thinking that you're the only person going through what you're going through, is a recipe for depression. Okay. And we don't want the depression. We don't. You have to encourage yourself. But where are you going to find the encouragement at, right? If you don't know where to look and you're spiraling. That's why we talked about the video yesterday, overthinking. You're in your head too much. You know what I mean? But I feel like we're in our head too much because we got emotional problems, because we've been dealing with other people, right? And it's not even, yeah, we all have faults, but I feel like the people that do the work, you do the work. You clocking in with yourself. You checking in with yourself. You doing what you're supposed to be doing. But they out here playing with you for real. And nobody gonna say, I'ma say it. They trying you in real life. Like, they really out here be trying you. It's not even the news. It's people that you deal with on a regular day. Okay? I'm looking at all the different contributing factors on why we can't reach our goals. Why are we drained at the end of the day? Because we've been at work all day with people, right? And people be peopling. They be really irritated. Like, they really do. And it's just like, we want to build community. We want to, but there's a reason why we have to build a community, because the community was tripping and we had to be by ourselves. We had to be on our solo dolo. You know what I mean? And so now we're trying to build community where we didn't have one, but it's just like, it's too much, y'all. It's too much. Okay. Hold on, y'all. Tackling the old version versus the healed version. This is something that I struggle with, y'all. I struggle with, balancing the two, right? When something happened to me, I'd be like, see, you caught me. Because old Lillian would have cussed you smooth clean out. And I didn't do that, right? So be gracious, be grateful, right? Be of good everything, all the virtues, because listen, I'm trying. I be switching. Like, every time somebody do something, I be like that. Because why are you playing games? Why are you playing games? Like, and don't let it be somebody that knew you, right? And they're like, oh, we thought you was healed. We thought you was this. Oh, that's too low vibrational. You know what I'm saying? Like, please don't bring me back down there. So it's like, sometimes you really do be having to cut people off. You know what I mean? But it's just like, you cut so many people out of your life and then you don't have anyone left. And it's just kind of like, it's just you. But then you want to get back out there and you're dealing with everything. It's like, let's stay in the cocoon where it's safe, but you're a butterfly. You did the transformation. It's time to step out. It's time to get back into the world. It's time to do the things that you love. If can't nobody take your picture for you, they got selfie sticks now. They got selfie sticks and remotes. But then you have to get over the anxiety and the fear of being seen, having someone else see you take a picture of yourself. Like, who does she think she is, right? Who does she think she is to be doing this and everything like that? You know what I mean? And it's just like, you have to get over that. And I feel like the other thing is, most people don't care that much when they first see you doing something that you're passionate about. But it's just like, it's the guilt and the shame that we impose on ourselves that keeps us from being able to step back out there in the world. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, what are they thinking? What are they gonna say and everything like that? And I feel like if we got over that, I feel like everybody wants to build community, everybody wants to build community, and because these apps not working, right? So we have to do things the old school way, right? And it's just like, well, how do we circumvent any problems or anxieties of dealing with other people? Because everybody's not perfect too. And I feel like we have this level of needing perfection from someone else when we don't have it within ourselves. We're doing the work and we're being lenient, but it's like, how much leniency are we going to grant to these new people? See, it's all these different variables. We're going back out there and we're being lenient, but how much lenient is it? You know what I mean? And how can we, it's like these unknown unknowns, but I really feel like we have to step back out there and be of good courage, right? Be of good courage, because honestly, sitting at home, right? Sitting at home, staying to yourself. I feel like the light is best for the people that need it. Okay, you have to be a light to the others, to the world, and different things of that nature. And maybe I'm speaking for myself, but I just feel like a lot of us, we want to get back out there. We want to, but it's like, how much healing do I need to? And then also, how do you know if you really healed? You know what I mean? How do you know if you even really healed? Because you're not interacting with anyone. You know what I'm saying? So did you heal or did you cut everybody off? You know what I'm saying? And so now it's just kind of like healing and cutting people off, not necessarily the same thing. We can say that these people deserve to be cut off. They do. But the thing is, I feel like it's more impactful for us to have those difficult conversations with people. I love having confrontation. Confrontation is my favorite thing. I love a good conversation. People don't like it. I love confrontation. Like, let's talk about it. Let's move some furniture around. Like, let's really get to the bottom of it, because I want to know how you're thinking. What makes you tick? I want to know, right? And so with having those conversations, we get to further each other. I feel like when we have conversations, most of the time people are really just trying to get the other person to feel the same way that they're feeling. I am in the situation that I want everybody to feel heard. I want you to express yourself, because I feel like at the root, it's all about you disrespected somebody. They didn't get heard. Like, they didn't feel heard. They want to get their stuff out. That's all they want to do. They just want to express themselves. Express yourself. Say how you feel, right? And then I'm going to say how I feel, and we are going to come in the middle. That should be the conversation. That is why we're doing all of this. But it's just like, most people don't want to do that. They want you to feel the way that they feel. But what I'm saying is, it's okay for us to feel differently, but we both have boundaries, and we're not going to cross each other's boundaries. You know what I mean? You communicate one way, I communicate another way. We can communicate differently. However, we need to communicate differently within these constraints. Okay? I'm not going to call you those words, and you're not going to call me these words. Okay? And we can have these conversations. I work like this. You work like that. Your favorite color is that. My favorite color is this. And that is okay. We don't have to all be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't all have to be on the same page, but we do need to be in the book. You know what I'm saying? We might not have the same reading level, but we need to be in there, right? We need to be in there. And that's what I'm learning. But you would only know, your level of being healed by interacting with other people and how you respond to the interaction. You need some type of stimuli. So when you encounter something like, okay, yeah, I did heal because old Lillian would have did this. I'm doing this. Growth. It's growth. Right? Thank God we're not how we used to be, right? Thank God we're not how we used to be. Thank God that we have shown some level of, we're getting up there in our level of thinking and interacting with the world, So hold on, y'all. I got my notes. Okay. I feel like we encounter a lot of triggers. You know what I'm saying? Like the triggers. The triggers will let us know whether or not we've been healing. Have we done the work? How we respond to those triggers, right? And then the other thing is, we need to stop romanticizing potential. What could be. Yesterday we talked about it, overthinking, over planning, what could be. And I feel like we have to just look at what is. when we're dealing with other people in the world. It is what it is. These people are going to do what they do all day and every day. But I can choose to respond differently to the stimuli, right? I know they're going to act like that. So I'm not even going to give them too much energy, right? And then when you stop giving them energy, they're going to fall in line. We're not going to, award bad behavior, right? We engage with the behavior that we want to engage with, and we will get more of that behavior. That is what we do, and I just feel like anybody that can't get along with that, then yeah, you're going to have to cut that off as well. Also, you have to be willing to walk away without the closure. Okay. Sometimes we need a reason why I'm like that. I want to know why you stupid. Like, why you acting like that? You know what I mean? Like, I want to know. Like, I want to know your life story, so I can justify it to myself. I noticed that about myself. When I was watching my video back and I was talking about Nicki Minaj, and I was like, she been going through a lot of things and everything like that. Why are we trying to justify her behavior? Because she been through something. At the end of the day, it's not okay for people to be wilding out like that. And you don't need to know why. We do not need to know why. Because at this grown age, people should be like, come on, it's 2026. Like, if you acting stupid, you are stupid. And we're not going to deal with that. And we don't need to know why you stupid. We don't need to know why. We don't need to justify the stupidity. We just don't need to do that. We have to be able to walk away. I feel like when you've invested so much into people, you want them to be redeemed. You don't want to remember people in the way that they are behaving, right? Because y'all had history together. You don't want to just let it go like that. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to let it go, but you're going to have to. You're going to have to. Walking away, because I feel like it's creating this negative loop. You know what I mean? The next thing, don't let go of yourself. Okay? Not letting go of yourself. I feel like we're healing, we're doing the work, but we want to love everybody, right? But we have to love ourselves first. We come first, okay? And we come first, and it doesn't matter if they don't choose us or they don't appreciate us. Some people value being chosen, yeah? Being chosen more than they value, being with themselves, sitting with themselves, healing, making the steps that you have to take, in those steps that you have to take. You rather be chosen, being a part of the group thing, the inclusion, right? And it's just like, as you are in these relationships or in these interactions, you forsake yourself because the group want to do this, but you want to do something different, Yeah, it's a lot because you're trying to heal. But you staying a part of the group that is causing you damage. You staying in the house that is causing the damage. So you're doing the work. You're consistently doing the work. You're doing the work. But then you go back out and they're consistently causing pain and trauma. It's too much. It is too much. Okay. So I feel like the cocoon or hermit mode is amazing because you get, like I said, to control the variables. You know what to expect. It's just you, right? But it's just, I feel like it's hiding. It really is hiding, y'all. It is really like you have to sharpen the saw. You have to actively seek to be like, because if you're gonna we live in a world and you're not the only one in the world, like you have a gift. You have to share your gift. You know what I mean? But you're not gonna share your gift. And I'm not saying actively seek out relationships and environments and different things of that nature, but go out, experience, and enlarge your horizons. I think the best thing to do would be to seek out those organizations that you are interested in. Like I like singing bowls, namaste. That's what I like to do, but I also don't like being around other spiritual people because, other spiritual people, they be a little too spiritual, right? Cause we're rooted in a 3D experience. So you gotta have both. You know what I mean? You gotta have both. I can't be talking to you and it's like spirituality, but you don't know how rent getting paid. You know what I'm saying? I'm not that type of person, right? And so it's just like we balance. And sometimes, just because we're socializing doesn't mean that we're going to be like best friends. We're not going to be best friends. We're not going to be family, but we can have a conversation, just bouncing ideas off of each other. You know what I mean? This is a creative space, creative element. I feel like we need to get back out there into the world. Socializing with people, speaking to people. I'm from the South, so we speak, say hello, good morning and everything like that. And you just never know. And I feel like you open yourself up to, spontaneity and just things happen naturally, versus always trying to control every little element of your life. We go to work, we come home, we go to sleep, we wake up and we do it all over again. You know what I mean? Something that I really want to do is look at how to make every day feel like a day off. Yeah, seriously. You know what I'm saying? Seriously. Because I feel like work is a big part of our lives and we spend so much time at work. That's 8 hours a day, right? 40 hours a week if you're working full time. And that, however it goes at work, that's going to dictate your entire thing, So we need to figure out a way, what are some jobs? What are some things that we could do to have a more fulfilling life? That's what I'm doing research on now. I know we said no overthinking, but listen, when I went to Galveston, I was like, they have school districts out here. These school districts, they might have libraries. And these libraries are near the beach. I could go to the beach every day. It doesn't have to be only in the summertime, only in spring break thing. You see what I'm saying? And it wouldn't take too much change. Just how can we change and transform the little things in our lives, right? The little things in our lives so we can have a larger impact. I talked about it in my other video that we did this week. You know what I mean? Small changes. And I spent so much time talking about work is because we spend all our time at work. And we're not feeling fulfilled. How can we do what we do in a different location so that we can have a different life? And we can get back out there. I feel like the reason we don't go out and socialize and explore is because, well, what are we going to talk about with these people when we get there? You know what I mean? Talk about how we hate our jobs and things like that. What do we have to add? We have to build the life that we want to live. But how do you do that? You know what I mean? I feel like we want to make the money. We got to make the money. But it's just change your environment of where you do it, Travel, see where it is. Some people go overseas. Okay. I love watching this lady, I think her name is Stephanie. She talks about going overseas and different things of that nature, like different countries, being an expat. And I think that is wonderful. But I feel like it's hard to do something like that if you don't have, if you have a family and different things that you married, you have all this stuff, then yeah, it's kind of hard to do. But how can you make small changes? Just changing one thing, the location. You keep doing the job, but you do it in a different place. You could change your whole life. You know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about. So I feel like healing is always going to be worth it, right? Healing. I feel like we vented a lot. I'm so sorry. Okay. I didn't mean to do that. We were healing a lot. We're healing, we're journaling, we're doing everything. And it's just you go back into the world and you face these problems, these issues, you're dealing with people, communication is, you know what I mean? But it's just I don't feel like it's a service to yourself to be, closed off. You know what I mean? Your life is for the living. You know, life is for living and we need to get out there. I am going to be doing some more research on how to actually like make those changes. Like I gave you the idea of like in the school system, go somewhere where they have a beach and just teach there. You know what I mean? And you could go to the beach every day. Like every day would feel like a vacation. Every day would feel like a day off. You know, I just think that it's crazy that we have to work so much. You know what I mean? Like we have to work so much and we're doing the work. We're doing all of this, but it's just like, this can't be what God had in mind for us every single day. It cannot be. It cannot be, you know. And I feel like I'm talking to the people that are already healed. You know, you're already healed. The people that need to be healing, they're not going to be getting healed. They're not going to do all of that because they are their problems, you know. But I feel like they are what you call a non-person player. You know, you see them, you say hello, and then you move on, right? They're not very important. But I feel like because we interact with so many people in situations like that, it's hard to separate ourselves from that, you know. Or it's hard to like, after you go away and come back, like, do I even want to re-enter this situation, you know? So I feel like that was just more a theoretical. This is a theoretical conversation. All right. But it is time to get out of there. Okay. We don't need to keep doing the healing. The healing is for you. It's not for the other person. It's so that you can have those strategies to be a better person, right? So you don't be out here on the news, you know? Yeah. So let's step back out there. I'm going to challenge y'all for real because I'm challenging myself. Look for easy ways to create a fulfilling life. You don't have to drop everything and go be a flight attendant. You don't. But how can you incorporate getting out there? And it just, like it says on the thing, go to an event, go out on a date. You know what I mean? But I'm looking at full life, right? Full life expansion and just growth on a holistic vibe. You know what I mean? Yeah, you can go out to eat every day. Okay. But that's not going to like give as much as you feel like it's going to give. I feel like changing the entire vibe. Like every day you wake up needs to feel like a day off. You know what I mean? Like that's the goal for 2026. That's the $1 million idea right there, you know? So that is your challenge. Okay. So I hope this video made sense. Okay. All right. I hope this video made sense. Life is not supposed to be painless. It's not. I feel like the pain teaches you things that you needed to know and you become the person you were always meant to be. Like the pressure builds the diamonds and everything like that. It's also like where you get that higher order thinking, the pain. You know, you can't appreciate the sunshine without the pain. You can't appreciate, you know, the good times without having the bad times, you know. You know how to handle money because you know what it's like to not have. So it's like you learn your lesson for a higher thing. But I feel like some people go through life and they never learn their lesson and they are the lesson. Right. So, yeah, God is still working on me on that. But I just hope that you get out there. The $1 million ideas. How do you create a perfect day every day? You know, I know every day is not going to be perfect, but like, how close can we get? Ooh, I hope you enjoyed this video of me rambling. Okay. Yes. But get out of the cocoon. That's the point. Get out of the cocoon. All right. I will see you in the next video.